Welcome back, everybody, and today we are going to do a little bit of beholder painting with paint stains. In the previous video, I gave you the introductory guide to paint stains. Basically, just very heavy paint wash, very fun, kind of freestyle way of painting. This time, we are going to go a little bit crazier in it and just show you what you can do with paint stains. And this particular figure, I think, is a perfect canvas for paint stains, because the paint stains work best, I think, when doing skin, because it allows you to get a lot of color variation in skin. And when I say skin, just don't think people, think animals. Alligator is a good example. Alligator is just not green or beige. There's a whole lot of different color variety in there, and if you use paint stains and washes, a little bit of highlighting, you can do the same thing to all your creatures. So we begun with English uniform, which I use because I want a yellow tone to begin with, and I know the English uniform covers very well, and we are covering black primer. And after our English uniform, going with game color desert yellow. Remember, we are going to be putting washes and stains on top of our base coat, so it's important that you start with as light of color as possible. The lighter your base coat, the more contrast you can put into the miniature when adding your stain. So a light off yellow color here is going to work great for us. If I picked a dark brown and then just put black on top of that, well, that doesn't give us a lot of color to play with, so make sure you go light with your base. Now on to our paint stain, and for that I'm using Model Color Military Green. Yes, this beholder does have a Ghostbuster Slimers look to it, so that's why we're going green. Remember, a paint stain is basically just a very heavy paint wash, so you want it thick enough so it acts like a wash and it stains the base coat. In this case, stains it green, but doesn't completely cover up the yellow. You still want a kind of a wash consistency, just thicker than you normally would. Also, by not over thinning the stain, you can put this on very liberally, because we're not breaking through the binder in the paint. So main concern right now is just making sure that we cover all the skin. Our second color is going to be Royal Purple, and this one I'm using more as a wash, meaning it's thinner than our military green is. And the reason why I'm doing it thinner is because it's thinner, it's acting more like a regular wash, meaning it's going to go more into the recesses and not stain the base coat like the green did. So I think this is a really good example here of the difference between the two techniques, the thicker stain and the thinner wash. Also, there are two different ways of doing this. In the introductory video, I was a bit more precise with this application, just going into the recesses. I'm going with this more freestyle, just slap it everywhere wash technique here, because we're painting a giant flesh ball and it has to go everywhere. So trying to speed things up a little bit, but you can be more precise with your application or a little bit more liberal like this, depending on what you're painting. And now for the all-important cleanup stage. As mentioned before, cleanup stage is very important with this technique because we want to clean up the surface a little bit and prepare it for our highlights. It will make things much easier going forward if we clean up now. I did say this is a kind of difficult step because you can't necessarily just go back to the paints you've already used. You may have to mix up a completely different batch of paints to match what is on the miniature now. Remember, we have desert yellow with a heavy amount of green over it and then a little bit of purple. So how do you mix that up from scratch, basically? In this case, I got fairly lucky. I went back to the first color we used, our English uniform, that has a little green in it. It is yellow, and that actually worked out pretty well. And keeping in mind the get-her-done style of painting we're using on this guy, I'm scrubbing on the paint. Not really dry brushing because the paint is actually thinned slightly, so this is kind of a scrubbing motion mixed with layering. So we have to still build up the paint, and it's not completely covering the previous layers all in one coat. Next comes our highlights, and for that, mixing in beige red and basic skin tone into our English uniform. I'll let the next few clips play out on their own because it's fairly self-explanatory. Did want to point out, very important here, that majority of the highlighting I'm actually doing on just the front kind of, what would be the belly section of our beholder, because I want to get a color transition there. So kind of wiped away all the green, covered that up with the first English uniform, and really concentrating the highlights on this area, and to get that a little bit of a pink tone on top of our yellow as well. And then the other parts of the beholder, mainly just the stalks, I think I only highlighted once at this step, but no more, because they really don't need it. Contrast is very important when it comes to painting miniatures to give depth to what is usually very hard to see areas. But instead of using light to get our contrast, which we normally would use, I'm using color instead. So we have sort of yellow represents the highlights, that greenish tone, the base coat, and our violet, our shade. And if we try to put highlights on top of that, well, that just becomes unnecessary and also kind of confuses the nice little colored nuance that we have on our beholder now. So it's good enough to stand on its own. I think it's actually better this way than if I were to clean it up and add a whole bunch of highlights. Done with our highlighting, now we can move on to our glazes. We already have a fair number of colors working on this beholder, but that doesn't mean we still can't add more. You can see by the addition of the beige red and the brown rose, I want a bit more red in the front, more yellow area of our beholder. So beginning off with a very red glaze, this is going into the recesses on the front of our beholder, just the front, not the back areas. And then for the highlighted areas, going with a glaze of brown rose. Now, if you were paying attention while I was doing the highlighting, you may have noticed I started off with beige red and then switched to brown rose. That's because I wanted more of a red-pink tone to the front of our beholder, and even that didn't get it, but I kept moving on just by adding in more of the basic skin tone, because as long as we get our highlights lighter, we could change the color later on. A perfect example right here. So since I couldn't get that pink tone I wanted, just keep adding more of the basic skin tone, just lighten up those areas, and then colorize them now using the straight brown rose. And then for the green areas, the only glaze I'm adding there is violet in the recesses. That first violet wash I put on, that did a lot, added some colors here and there, but in the deeper recesses, in some areas, I wanted it a little bit stronger. So again, rather than applying 2 washes over the whole thing, we just tweak the colors at the end and emphasize that violet wherever I want. After finishing off the skin, we just have to paint the tongue and the eyes, and ta-da, one stained beholder. I hope you see why I enjoy this painting technique so much after seeing the results. It's just so freestyle, because we started off with yellow, and then we put on green, and then violet, and then a bit more of a flesh tone here, and then put some red in it, and there's so many different colors working out. There's not a whole bunch of layered highlights and slow, precise painting. It's kind of just finger painting almost, and the results, I think, work excellent. It is kind of like working with the new trendy, like Games Workshop contrast paints, but you notice I did it with regular paint. I didn't buy a $10 little bottle that's only good for doing one thing. I'm using paint that's good for everything. I hope this encourages you to give this technique a try, because yes, it is a lot of fun, and you can just go really crazy with colors. Try just funky things out. Start with a gray base and put on a green and then violet tone, and just see what happens, and then work from there. I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned, and thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.
The fun never stops when you're clean and tidy.